Hello and welcome to Neuroshambles, the podcast that aims to shine a light into some of the murkier corners of what it's like to parent neurodivergent kids. I'm Mark Allen, and every episode I'm going to be swapping stories with my guests about some of the frankly ludicrous nonsense we have to deal with on a daily basis. So, if you're anything like me and you're feeling frazzled, overwhelmed and pretty much an outcast from polite society, join me. Hello and welcome to episode 47 of Neuroshambles. Thanks once again for joining me, Neuroshamblers. Hope you're all bearing up okay since the weather has turned cold and it's become even more apparent that our children will not dress for the correct weather conditions. Anyway, we've got a really fun show lined up for you where I'm going to be speaking to a new guest, talking about a topic of the week that is quite an interesting one, where it's shone a light onto how bizarre my own family is. We'll also be talking about Neurodiversity Champions, tiny epic wins, and what the flip moments. So what are we waiting for? Let's wade into it.
Meet the guest.
So this week's guest is a Neuroshambles listener who emailed me to suggest some fantastic ideas for topics of the week. We had a bit of a back and forth and we settled on one topic in particular that I'm quite keen to discuss. So I invited her on to share her experiences and she thankfully accepted. She is a parent of a neurodivergent child who we'll no doubt talk about in a lot more detail throughout the course of this episode. But for now, I am delighted to be able to welcome to the show. It's Michelle Parton. How are you doing, Michelle?
Hi, Mark. I'm fine, thanks.
So I say a neurodivergent child. That's the only one you sort of professed to. But you do have more than one child there, don't you?
Yeah. I've got two children. Only one diagnosed autistic with PDA. And then my younger one is undiagnosed because I just haven't had the time to do any, referrals or
totally
whatever.
Understand
so
that.
I think she's probably autistic as well.
Having the wherewithal to strap in and go through another diagnosis process. Like, just going to pause it for a little bit, give yourselves a bit of a breather and then do it again, I guess. In terms of the ages then, so your eldest is diagnosed autistic.
Mm-hmm. And she's 11.
Does she have any other co-occurring conditions?
You can't get PDA officially diagnosed.
Not officially, but they do mention it in the notes. So they did with India. Certainly when she's well PD. Not officially, but I was reading between the lines there.
Yeah, so I think her notes say with demand avoidant tendencies or traits or something like that. So yes, basically autistic with a PDA profile is our 11-year-old.
And the 7-year-old?
So she's just crazy. But she doesn't have any.
Is that diagnosed or suspected crazy?
Very definite crazy.
Okay, fine. Well, thank you for introducing me to your setup. I am excited to talk about this topic of the week, so let's get started.
What's the topic of the week?
So as I mentioned, Michelle emailed me with a few suggestions for the topics of the week, but one in particular jumped out at me because it's one that I've experienced a lot, particularly with India, and I haven't heard that many other people talk about it. So when Michelle mentioned it, I was like, oh, another one. And I was quite keen to swap stories and see if we could shed some light on it. So this week's topic is the nightmare of our kids steadfastly and resolutely refusing all medical assistance. So this can manifest itself in a reluctance to even admit they're in pain or attempts to completely hide the physical symptoms of an injury or illness, or an extreme aversion to going to GP or hospital appointments. For the record, India displays all three of these, which is a joy. And from reading Michelle's email, I am not the only parent on the receiving end of this. So I wanted to swap some notes, see if we might be able to decipher some of what might be going on with our kids in the context of their neurodiversity. So, the thing is, all kids need medical assistance at some point, just as all humans do. It's, we are frail, squishy, vulnerable beings, right? So, it doesn't matter if we've hurt ourselves physically or whether it's an illness or an infection. We all need to see a doctor at some point or go to the hospital at some point. It's not ideal. Obviously, none of us want to do that, but it's a fact of life. And with India, it is always hugely dysregulating, and it's led to some pretty inventive avoidance strategies. I don't know if yours is the same.
I'm not sure about avoidance strategies, but certainly both my children are terrified of the concept of going to the doctor or hospital or whatever. So my youngest just gets a bit scared and whiny, whereas my eldest is just stubborn, straight down the line. No, I'm not going. Not going. No.
That'll be the PDA for you
Yeah.
as well. So I take, because the thing that India does is she hides it. If she's hurt herself, she will not let anyone know. Even if I see her do it and I'm like, do you hurt yourself? She not only kind of doesn't tell me, she gets angry. She gets actually angry that I've suggested she has.
Yeah.
And, you know, she'll start growling and get frustrated internally, and then she'll kind of like just run off or disappear. Is that something that Amelie Rose experiences?
Not exactly. I think Amelie Rose and India are a bit different in that Amelie Rose refuses medical help. So she refuses all treatments.
Oh, we'll get onto that.
Yeah, I think it's more Lydia, my youngest one, who doesn't like to admit that she might have a hurty bit or whatever.
Right, okay. I've got a perfect example of this in India that really beautifully illustrates this. And this is from my birthday this year.
Oh.
Right? Because I was solo parenting a lot of them on my birthday this year. And India insisted that she was going to make me breakfast in bed. I was like, great.
Bless.
It was adorable. It's like, yes, fantastic. I'll do that. You know, it's fine. I don't know what I'm going to be served up, but I am going to eat it up with a smile on my face, yum it down and thank her. So about probably 6 a.m, and I'm still sort of asleep, I hear Otto coming up the stairs, and I can hear Otto coming up the stairs because he's very heavy-footed. So he's clomping up the stairs, and he opens the door to my room, and he sneaks up to the bed, and I think this is adorable. He's going to wish me a happy birthday. And he leaned over to me and he whispered into my ear very gently, he went, "Daddy, there's a mouse in my room." I'm immediately awake this way going, oh, really? Oh, fine. Okay. But I'm really tired, and I think, it's only a mouse. Like, what harm can it do? It's fine. And we've got a cat, you know what I mean? So the cat's going to just it's not me you should be telling, it's Loki, our cat, right? So I just sort of said, oh, it's fine. And he was like, well, I want to catch it. I was like, okay, well, use peanut butter. Apparently that's a thing.
Oh, okay.
It attracts mice. Don't know why. It's apparently a thing. So I was like, use some peanut butter. I sort of snoozed the child for a little bit just so I can maybe try and get a tiny bit more sleep. And I don't hear anything for a while. There's a bit of commotion downstairs, but nothing massively untoward. And then a little while later, India comes back into my room and she opens the door and she's got my breakfast.
Oh.
It's toast with a bit of jam on it. It's like, great. But her face tells me immediately that she's dysregulated. She is furious about something. It's not like a lovely birthday greeting where she smiles and jumps on my bed and wishes me a happy birthday. It is just a scowl, and she kind of walks over to me and kind of thrusts it at me in the way that I imagine a prison guard might give it to a prisoner who's in for life. It's like, take it. Right. I was like, okay, thanks. So then I say, is everything okay? And she sort of like goes very quiet and she kind of nods, and it's like, obviously she's not. And then I notice she's got blood on her top. Oh. Right. So I'm like sitting bolt up right now. I'm going, what's going on? Are you okay? And I said, what about this? Is that blood? And she went, I didn't touch the glass. Right. So at this point, I'm like, what? What glass? I didn't even bring glass into this. What is this? So then I'm trying really hard to understand what's going on. And I need to see, because she obviously cut somewhere, right? I'm trying to see where it is. And I say, have you cut yourself? And she's just refusing to say anything. And she's like hiding her hands. So I'm like, okay, what the hell scene is waiting for me downstairs?
Yeah.
So I run downstairs to Otto's room where they were trying to catch the mouse. And what had happened is they tried to catch the mouse and they'd knocked a lava lamp off Otto's table. It smashed and exploded on the floor, right? Now, I don't know if you've ever seen the inside of a lava lamp, but it is full of oily water, and this was a glitter one,
Oh
right?
no.
So this glitter had oil and broken glass and blood fucking everywhere. So I'm just like, this is my birthday surprise.
Yeah,
Thanks,
happy birthday,
guys.
Dad.
Yeah. So that's kind of background. That's sort of a slightly a sidebar here to what the real issue is, that in India is bleeding, and won't let me look at the cut and won't admit that she's bleeding, despite the fact there's blood all over her. So eventually, I managed to kind of prise her hand open and see the cut, and it's not too bad. Like it could be a lot worse. So I'm thinking that's okay. Now my issue is I can't put a plaster on India. She's incredibly sensory, and we'll get into this in a little bit, but she won't let me put a plaster on. So I have to basically get some kitchen roll and sort of roll it up and put it over the cut. But she also won't let me put sellotape on the kitchen roll to keep it together, because it's the same issue as the plaster,
Yeah.
right? And she's already dysregulated, and this is making her more dysregulated. And I still haven't cleared up all the glass in Otto's room.
God.
So it's it's an absolute carnage.
It sounds
And in the end, anyway, I made her kind of hold the kitchen towel. But this was just a little illustration in how India navigates this sort of dysregulation, and how there is this shutdown really to when I ask her what's wrong, or to tell me what's going on, or to where she actually needs medical assistance.
Yeah.
And I don't know what is at the bottom of it yet. And hopefully we'll sort of get into this and we'll look at some potential things here.
Yeah, I mean, in that situation, do you think it was that India was worried that she was going to get told off for breaking the lava lamp?
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I don't think that was necessarily the case, because it is also something that I've seen before.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it is a regular thing in that if she hurts herself, like I will notice that, and we'll get into the many times that this has happened with India, and the potential reasons that I think have led to this sort of shutdown and this reluctance to share, what is quite evidently a medical help and a need for medical assistance. Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. It's interesting that to think of that it's not to do with the medical thing itself, it's to do with the sort of the repercussions of that.
It might be to do with your reaction to the medical situation. So, for example, Lydia, my youngest, if she's got like a scab or whatever and she picks it and then she's got blood running down her leg, I might say, "Oh, Lydia, you're bleeding," and she'll go,
Oh, okay.
And I think it's because I've nagged her in the past about don't pick your scabs because you'll bleed.
Right,
Don't
yeah.
pick your scabs. And so she's just kind of avoiding being told off for picking her scabs, because
so
she knows
she thinks
she's
she's
done
being
the
told
thing
off.
that I told her not to do. But I mean, it's going to be different in every situation, isn't it?
So obviously we talked about a reluctance to admit that they need the medical help. We'll unpick why that potentially is in a little while. But you mentioned that yours have dysregulation about the prospect of going to the doctor, and that's definitely another thing that India experiences. How does that manifest itself with your lot?
It's not. I'm not sure they get dysregulated. I think about the idea of going to the doctor, it's more just that they don't want to. Well, they don't. I don't know. They're just scared of what will happen. I think they're scared of what the doctor might say or do to them.
Right. Okay. So when you have to, because obviously you have to go to the doctor sometimes, they are feeling ill or whatever, do you have to sort of employ any strategies to get them there? Or are they largely compliant but just very vocal about it?
Well, to be honest, I haven't really taken them to the doctor very much because the reluctance, the sort of refusal gets in the way. So fortunately, Lydia hasn't been very ill and hasn't needed to go to the doctor. But on the occasions when Emily Rose has had earache, so she's had an ear infection a couple of times.
Yeah.
And I have managed to get her to the doctor about twice, I think, sort of just with a lot of reluctance, but then she's refused to take the medication because it tastes horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had that.
And so now it's more a case of, well, if she says she's not going to go, then it's kind of like, well, there's probably no point really.
Well, I
She's
guess
not
it's
gonna...
different with PDA, isn't it? Because you need their buy-in to do anything. So
Yeah,
you could maybe somehow wrangle them into the doctors, but then, as you say, even if they get diagnosed with something and then they get prescription medication, if they're not on board with the whole idea, they're not going to take it. It's a waste of
no,
everyone's time.
yeah, exactly.
So I guess it's a case of then assessing whether they can just kind of deal with it.
And
I
how
guess.
serious it is. And I'm very lucky that neither of my children have had anything very serious, like no broken bones or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I
Okay.
haven't had to take them for anything serious.
Yeah, I've had a couple of incidents. There was an occasion with India last year where she had Lyme's disease from a tick bite.
Oh no,
And Lyme's disease, you
that's
cannot fuck around with.
serious.
Like it is
Yeah,
potentially, like if it's treated and you get it early, obviously it's fine and nothing goes wrong. But if it's untreated or it gets worse, then obviously it's really serious. So we couldn't, do you know what I mean? There's no just waiting that out. We have to go. And
yeah.
the issue was that India had hidden the symptoms of it for ages. So India had noticed the rash on her body,
Oh, no.
so would run upstairs and get her pajamas on without being asked. So we didn't see it. And when I say it wasn't like months, it was like a few days that we were behind the curve. Then we noticed it. You know, Tam noticed it separately, told me to keep an eye on it. But again, when you are trying to keep an eye on it and you say, India, can we see the rash now? She gets really dysregulated, really furious, will not comply. And obviously you don't want to hold your child down and stop frisking them for rashes. So it's a really tricky thing to navigate, but obviously it's serious, right? So we knew that was, and we'd obviously been on Google, and it's never a good idea to Google symptoms of any illness, but we thought that's what it was. So we had to go to the doctor. The doctor went and had a look at it. Tam had to deal with taking in India to the doctor, and that was not pretty by all accounts. And the upshot of that was that she had to then get her blood taken.
Oh no.
Which is a whole new level.
Oh my goodness. Did that happen? Because a doctor tried to get Emily Rose to have her blood taken, and Emily Rose has just point blank refused.
Really?
Oh yeah. So even though I've talked her through it, I took her with me when I went to get my blood taken, and she just won't. She won't consent to having her blood taken, and I think it would really be helpful.
Yes,
but she just won't consent to it.
This is the thing that is, because I don't like getting my blood test done. No one does. Surely it's kind of awful
and this is the thing, right?
Kind of weird.
I obviously I don't like it either. It's not my idea of a nice day out, but I do it because I know it's beneficial and helpful.
Yes, but that's the thing, isn't it? Is that I think as an alleged neurotypical, you sort of some things are unpleasant, but you tolerate it, you put up with it, right? And it's very different for our neurodivergent kids, because whatever is going on is felt at a very extreme end of the thing that might be a minor irritation or a minor inconvenience to us. It's incredibly extreme and it's incredibly visceral. So it's not a case of them just kind of sucking it up, because it is already worst case scenario, I think, for them, certainly for India. So the blood test and having to get her to take a blood test, I had to do that one.
Right,
and it was really hard because, well, firstly, just having to explain it, that actually this could be quite a serious thing. You know, again, India's PDA, so to try and get some sort of buy-in, she was incredibly reluctant, but I did manage to get her there. That was, she was really angry about it.
Yeah.
At one point, she went, "They're stealing my blood."
Yeah.
And I went, "It's not stealing." And she went, "Well, they're not paying for it, are they?" I was like, that's a very fair point. But no, it's... so I managed to get her there. I tried to make it as fun as possible. I tried to do that, after that we can go in the cafe and have, whatever you want in the cafe. But that's not really enough. If it is that sort of visceral a reaction, it's
Yeah.
not really enough. So we went there, and India basically kind of shut down and scowled throughout the whole thing. We're in the waiting room, and they've got fish in there, so I'm trying to get interest around that. No, not interested in the fish. They were great. And I managed to get her in. Basically, I sit her on my knee, and I get her to look away while the doctor is doing the blood test, and I've got my phone out, and she's watching Bluey on my phone, and I'm really trying hard just to distract her, like everything, just asking stupid questions about Bluey to try. And I managed at one point to make her laugh, and I was like, wicked. I managed to take her mind off it enough, because the thing about the blood test is it's not like an injection, whereas injection is like an in and out. A blood test is, it goes in, it stays in, and it's in for quite a while until they've got enough. And that's the bit that feels really weird as well, if you've ever had it done. I'm sorry if any Neuroshambles listeners are squeamish about this. I know Tam is going to have to skip through this bit. But I'm just explaining the situation, right? So I'm managing to distract her, and she's able to do it, and we're watching Bluey, and at one point I made her laugh. I got told off by the doctor for her moving. And I was like, you have no idea how fucking hard it has been to even get through these doors, Buster.
Oh, gosh.
Like, this little giggle is the least of your worries right now, because she could be ripping it out and running out of the door. So just cut me some slack, right?
Yeah.
We are all of us, including you, mate, we're doing amazingly well right now. Don't ruin it. But we did it. We got through it. They gave her antibiotics after that. Okay. So it was confirmed that it was Lyme disease. Gave her some antibiotics, but it cleared up and it's fine. I still think she has to have checkups every year, though. So
okay.
Not looking forward to that one. Yeah, I think Tam and I are going to be swapping duties there. We'll see. Oh God, if it's blood test, it probably is me, because I don't want Tam passing out as well. Jesus.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, it's a good reason why you do the blood test then.
Yeah, but that is, it's just one of those things about the dysregulation, about even getting them to the doctor and getting them to do stuff is never easy, is it?
No, exactly.
One of the things that I wanted to point out is that it isn't something that I've experienced with either of the boys, which is interesting. Like, they react slightly differently to needing medical help if they've hurt themselves or if they're feeling ill, for example. So if Jay has got a medical issue, he can articulate it. He's got no sort of issues with interoception or, identifying what's wrong with him. He will articulate it loudly, but he's got no major problems going to appointments or receiving medical advice of saying, we'll take this and you'll be fine. Or, he's fine with that, which is unusual, I think, in a lot of ways. But I think at his very core, he's quite pragmatic, and he's got an inbuilt desire for self-preservation. So if he's looking after himself, he's going to seek that medical help, and he's going to get that. So that's been quite good. One example is that he's been on anti-anxiety medication for a while now. And he knew that he needed help with his mood and his anxiety. Okay. So he was prescribed it, and he takes that, and there's never a question. Like, he's never questioned.
Is he okay with swallowing pills and stuff?
Yeah, he's okay with that. He's fine with that. Yeah. So we don't ever have that problem with him.
But you're lucky.
Yeah. I mean,
in that respect,
not always. Yeah, exactly.
With that one issue,
swings and roundabouts. So he takes those, and that medication has made a world of difference.
Oh, good.
To our family, not just him.
Yeah,
it's genuinely changed all of our lives.
Fantastic.
And at one point, he suggested maybe not taking it. Not for any reason, just like, do I still need to keep taking this? And then we kind of pointed out, like, the timeline of how much better his mood had been and how much kind of less dysregulated he's been since he started taking them. And he saw that, and he's like, oh, yeah, fine. And he's, he can see the benefits, so he's happy to continue.
That's amazing.
So with Jay, we don't have any of that. Otto is a slightly different case, but again, it's not an issue. So he feels pain very intensely, very acutely. So if he bangs his knee, it's a massive deal. It's like, he's like being shot, and he feels it, and he needs that reassurance from a parent. So he's the polar opposite of India in that respect, in that he will come to us for the tiniest thing. Whereas, if he's got a cold, it's the end of the world. Whereas if India had Ebola, we wouldn't even fucking know about it, right? She'd keep quiet about it.
Yeah.
So Otto is like, he had a cold like last week, and he just threw himself upon my mercy. So help me, Daddy. And it's fine. I like, it's fine, because he trusts that I'm a grown up, and he trusts that I'll do what I can to make it better for him, and I will. So that's okay. So if he needs to go to a doctor or a hospital, he almost shuts down and just gets really compliant and calm. It's quite unusual. So once he was 4, he cut his leg. This makes me sound like a terrible parent. He fell and cut his leg on some garden shears.
Nice.
And it was quite bad.
Yeah.
And I, at that point, up until he was 4, had only known him with sort of minor scrapes and minor ailments, right? And they were always a massive deal. But this was like a big deal. And I expected him to lose his shit, but he went the opposite way.
Oh, okay.
It was really interesting. So he just went, okay, I need help. And he was strangely kind of, well, like I say, compliant and calm. And so I then obviously managed to take him to the hospital, and they sorted him out. But again, he was distressed, but not, completely overwhelmed by it. It was really interesting. So it was the opposite of what I was expecting. And I prefer that approach. As a parent, right? It makes it much easier, because I think it's one of the things I wanted to touch on, that as a parent, you want to help your kids, right? We are hardwired to want to help them and to make them feel better when they don't feel well or they've hurt themselves. And it's so frustrating not to be able to do that, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I suggested this topic in the first place, because it's heartbreaking watching them go through pain or discomfort and not just feeling so helpless and frustrated and sad and, all the rest of it, especially if there is a solution and they just can't tolerate it or can't manage it or can't access it. So they just have to suffer. And it's just horrible as a parent to witness that.
It's like, I know the answer here, guys.
Yeah.
I just trust me. I know what I'm doing. And there's that sort of that, I don't know. And sometimes it's hard not to take it personally. Do you know what I mean? To go like, why don't you trust me after all these years? After all the shit I've done for you, and you still doubt me,
Yeah.
Come on.
And I think trust is, when you were just talking about some of those stories there, trust came up in my mind, because it's a case of, well, do they trust the doctors to do the right thing to keep them safe? And do they trust us to do the right thing and to I don't know.
I think trust is a big issue, and I don't know quite where that fits into it, where that comes from.
No, me.
But I think that certainly for India, it's a trust thing, which is really difficult to get around. How do you instill trust in someone, even after all these years of advocating for her and helping? No, it's not that she doesn't trust me. I think she does trust me. I don't think. But with India, what's quite interesting is that I knew that we were doing this episode, and I was having some one-on-one time with India, and I was playing the Would You Rather game, and I just thought I'd sort of try and unpick how deeply felt this issue with going to the doctor is, right? And I went, would you rather eat a cup of slugs or go to the doctors? And her first question, which was adorable, was, how did the slugs die? And I was like, why? And basically, if they died of natural causes, then that would have been all right. She'd have gone for the slugs. If I killed them just to fulfill this arrangement, then she would have gone to the doctors, I think, is the thing. So that is like, there's the deal breaker for India. So maybe that's it. Next time she needs a blood test, go, dude, you're going to either get your bloods tested or I'm going to stamp on this slug. And she'll do it, right?
That's
I think we
hilarious.
found the hierarchy. Yeah, so I told her natural causes and she chose the slugs. And I said, so what is it about going to the doctor that is so, that you don't want to do, that gives you the ick? And she went really quiet and she wouldn't answer. And then I went, is it because you don't trust anyone apart from yourself? And then she laughed. And I was like, I think that's it, isn't it? And she said, I don't trust any strangers. She was like, a doctor can kill you because they're just a stranger.
Wow.
And then she went further into it. It was a really interesting conversation. She went, they wear gloves, so there wouldn't be any fingerprints.
Wow.
It would be the perfect crime.
How old is India?
She's 8.
She's really bright.
But she's bright and deeply suspicious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, she'd really this is what's going on in her mind. And I can't disagree with her logic. Yes, technically, this doctor is a stranger and he could kill. I mean, it's not going to happen. There's nothing in it for him.
Wow, but that's so sad, though, that she has that level of mistrust or distrust in people who are there to help her. That's actually, and that's so deep, absolutely. Isn't it?
It's anxiety related, I guess, in that. And I don't know how to unpick that. I mean, I'm still sort of dealing with just trying to process that, really. But it does give you a little indication, like gives you an interesting window into how strongly she feels about that lack of trust that she has in the medical profession, which is why when we're going, you got to get your blood tested, she's got, this dude's going to stick a fucking needle in me. I don't trust him. I never met the guy. He could be pumping me with anything.
Yeah. Wow.
I don't. Yeah. So that. Yeah. It's not an easy thing, is it?
No. There's no easy answer to that.
There's no easy answer to any of this, is there? We just got to deal with it. So just sort of going back to the frustration as a parent.
Okay.
Sometimes it feels quite sad that they don't come to you with that need, I think. And maybe it's a bit selfish of me to want that, but I want to be, if my children have hurt themselves, particularly in the early years, I want to be able to comfort them and soothe them and make them feel better. That's kind of my job, right?
Yeah.
And if that's not my job as a parent, then I'm just help who does the cooking and the cleaning and that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, the stage in the kitchen.
So if they have an owie, right, and they don't come to me with that, so Otto does all the time, to be honest. He could probably dial it back a bit if we're truthful. Jay will as well. But it was only when I started thinking about it for this episode that I realised that I've never had India run to me with an owie, if you know what I mean. Which it's unusual, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is unusual.
At some point as a parent, you find yourself in that situation of do I just force the medical attention, in favour of what could be more serious long-term issues? So we had to do that with India and the Lyme's disease thing.
Yeah.
Or as you were saying with your kids, sometimes it's not worth the battle. So you got that trade-off. It's like, does the dysregulation outweigh, just putting up with a cold for a bit longer or an earache for a bit longer or something like that? If the dysregulation is so extreme that it's huge meltdown for extended period of time. I mean, is that sort of a trade-off that you make?
You used the word force the issue, or
yeah,
sorry,
or
whatever.
I was being glib.
Well, no, the memory it took me back to, excuse me, is when they were little, like age 2, and you're trying to get Calpol into them.
Oh, Calpol. yeah.
And I heard so many parents at the time saying, "Oh, my child loves Calpol so much. I put squash in the Calpol syringe so that they can suck on that because they keep asking for Calpol and I can't keep giving them Calpol."
Oh my God, what goes on around your neck of the woods? All these kids addicted to squash, syringing it into their faces in back alleys. Jesus. But yes, like Otto loves Calpol. It's got sugar in it, right? He loves it.
Yes. So my
He
kids are
fiends for it.
unusual because they won't have Calpol. They don't like Calpol.
Yeah.
Whatever brand or flavour it is. No, it tastes disgusting. It's horrible. I'm not having it. And when they are young, you can try and force it down their throat literally, but as they get older, you can't do that, and
No.
obviously you don't want to either.
Yeah, exactly, because you know there's a reason for them refusing it. It's
Yeah,
not
it's
when you
neurotic.
understand that it's not just a matter of preference. Oh, don't fancy Calpol tonight. It's a much more visceral response to it that they actually, it's a bodily response that they can't do it. It's not that they won't do it. Then yes, you know that forcing them is not going to work. India is exactly the same. You won't be surprised to hear she is not. She will not take Calpol, and will just put up with a temperature or a fever or whatever it is. And we only know that because we can feel it, and she's gone quiet.
Oh, and you can't take her temperature.
She won't tell us that that's going on. Can't take a temperature. You just know, right? So again, she's sort of making that. She's taking that decision out of our hands. But you're right. Yeah, you can't really force them to do it. What I thought might be quite interesting would be to look at what potentially is at play behind this reluctance to accept medical help, because I think there's a lot of different things going on here.
Undoubtedly.
So the first one, and one that is very keenly felt by India, is sensory issues.
Yeah.
Particularly with Plasters. As I mentioned earlier, the story about the Plasters, she cannot, freaks out, is immediately overwhelmed by the prospect of putting a plaster on. I think that is one of the reasons that she hides some of her physical injuries.
Yes,
because she doesn't want the plaster.
The sensory overload or discomfort or whatever.
Is that anything that your two experience at all?
No, my girls love plasters.
Oh, really?
They will. Yeah, I keep plasters in my bedside table drawer, and I frequently find that the drawer has been raided and the plasters have been taken, and they have been stuck in various places. Sometimes on bodies, and sometimes not.
Oh.
But no, we don't have problems with plasters.
No, I absolutely do not fear my plasters being scrumped. There's no danger of that at all. So she's always hated stickers as well. That's always been a big thing.
That's so unusual because kids usually love stickers.
I know, right? So every time, if you go, anywhere, like parties, birthday parties, do you want some stickers? And India's like, no. Like you've just offered her something really unpleasant. Would you like this dead fish? No. So it's a hard no for stickers for India, which is awkward sometimes. Like when she was little at the dentist, and it's like, oh, you've been a good girl. Would you like a sticker? And she would basically say no. And I didn't want to disappoint the dentist. So I end up walking around with the "You've been a brave princess" sticker on me, right? So she would
done, Mark.
She would choose the sticker and then I would put it on, and then we've sort of fulfilled our duty to the dentist, and India doesn't have to deal with it, right?
Congratulations, Mark, on getting her to the dentist. You get a
sticker. Exactly. I have been a brave princess today. Thank you, dentists. So it's the glue, apparently. I quizzed her on this recently as well. She doesn't like the stickiness of the glue. Is a big issue. So again, after she had her blood taken, the doctor wanted to give her a sticker. I was like, hasn't she already been through enough without this? So again, I had the sticker on me. The doctor thinks I'm mental, stealing my kid's sticker. Do you know what I mean? He was like, no, it's just a thing we do. Don't worry about it. But to India, it's like I'm taking a bullet for her. It's one for the team. So India explained to me that plasters are way worse than stickers because they go on your skin. Stickers is just on your clothes, right? But plasters are on your skin. And I know what she means. Because when you peel it off and you get all that gooey stuff and it's discoloured and maybe it feels weird. I don't know. But like I said, it's so keenly felt that it's not even an option to put a sticker on. And actually, it is way more dysregulating to India, even the prospect of doing that, than it is to bleed out.
Yeah.
She'd rather bleed out than have a plaster, which is horrible. As a parent, it's a really hard thing to navigate. Fortunately, it's not happened that it's been so severe that we've had to, genuinely force a plaster on or anything like that. But, it's going to happen one day. I'm not looking forward to that day at all. So that's one of the sensory issues. That's the feel, right? The feel of different things. Another sensory issue that India has, that I'm wondering if your girls have, but I'm starting to realise that India is just a very, very special case here. Is this like an India special episode?
I think so.
Maybe it's not neurodivergency at all. Maybe this is just an India thing. If there are any Neuroshambles listeners at home that have neurodivergent children that are experiencing the same level of aversion to this kind of thing as India, please let me know so I don't think that I'm going bonkers. So another one with India is the smell of things, the smell of ointments and creams and like head lice shampoo, right? Stuff.
Oh,
yeah, all of that stuff, right? But she's got a very keen sense of smell, so she gets very angry if we have to put a cream or an ointment on, because, right, they don't smell to me. I cannot smell anything on this. I'll put it right up to my nose. It won't smell of anything, but India will smell it and will get really freaked out by it. Is that just an India one again?
I am sure you're not alone, and there must be other Indias out there. My girls don't seem to have a strong sense of smell, so that's not so much of an issue. It's the problem Emily Rose has is with the feel of creams and ointments.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, because it's slimy.
Yes.
But it is more than that. So for Emily Rose, it's all about the sensory issues. So she has got incredibly bad eczema.
Right.
And this is another example of how it's heartbreaking as a parent, because I can see her body is covered in sore eczema patches, which bleed. And so her clothes and bedding are always covered in spots of blood, and it's itchy, and, it prevents her from doing things like going swimming.
Which I presume she loves, being neurodivergent.
Well, she does. She used to really love swimming, yeah. And when her eczema got really, really bad, she realised that chlorinated water just makes it sting and itch so insanely that she just can't go anymore.
Oh no!
So this is the frustration, right? I know, because I have eczema myself. I know that if you treat it with a series of creams and ointments and stuff, it gets better, and then she wouldn't have the problem. But because the cream makes her feel cold, now Emily Rose is very, very susceptible to, very sensitive to temperature,
right?
Either too hot or too cold. And once, even if you warm the cream up or something in the airing cupboard, once it's on your skin, it evaporates, and that automatically makes your skin feel colder.
Right.
And so she feels cold when the cream's going on. She doesn't like the feel of it being slimy. And there have been too many occasions where we've tried different creams that have actually stung and felt horrible.
Right. So again, she's happier to kind of have the eczema and the itching. Do you think she weighs up that decision? I'm still wondering how conscious it is of if she's like, look, I could get rid of the itching, or I could, do the cream, but the cream's not going to happen.
We've had that direct conversation several times. Yeah, and she consciously opts for the known, which is the itching that she is now accustomed to. And she says she can't even imagine what life would be like not having eczema, rather than the creams, because she really hates the creams.
Right. Okay. That resonates with the conversation I've literally just had with Pete Warmby, which is about transitions. Is that for autistics, the known is always preferable to the unknown, even if I know it's shit. It's better than what it could be like, which is like the double unknown shit.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And it sounds like that's what's going on with Emily Rose.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll stick or twist. It's like, I'm going to stick with this, even though it's really itchy. And it's heartbreaking to see them itching, isn't it? Like with eczema, because like India had just mosquito bites or something like that, just a bug bite. But it was really itchy, and she's scratching and grimacing. And when you suggest putting on antihistamine to get rid of it, it solves it immediately. No, hell no. And she'd rather stay with that.
Yeah.
which is so
Yeah.
hard, so
It's
hard.
really hard. It's really hard to stand by as a parent and watch that.
Yeah. For India, though, it was not the feel. It was the
Okay.
smell. When India had Lyme disease, we had to put cream on her rash. Again, that was a non-negotiable one. And there was a massive faff to do that I had to, and I've spoken about this on episode 28 of Neuroshambles, which is the medication one with Danielle Yarta Hall. So forgive me if I'm repeating myself, Neuroshamblers, but this is directly relevant to what we're talking about. Is that I played the game, I gamified the whole thing. So I would sort of turn up and go, "It's Dr. Stink," and that was I was Dr. Stink with the stink cream.
Yeah.
And then Otto would accompany me and he'd be Nurse Gentle. That was his role. So we had this whole thing where like Nurse Gentle would hold India down. And then Dr. Stink would come and put the cream on. So it made it kind of fun to get over the, like, just at least to soften the blow a little bit. But it's a massive rigmarole.
Yeah.
It's a massive effort. But
which is exhausting, isn't
yeah,
it?
it is. But I'll take that over the dysregulation and the fact
Oh,
that, you know, the potential medical consequences. But so much of parenting neurodivergent kids is I'll put up with the exhaustion just for a happy life. So obviously we've got the feel, the sensory issues, the feel of things and the smell of things. And we touched on this briefly, but the taste of things is a big issue with the Calpol. It's a huge one, and this is one that Jay has actually. Otto largely again will just trust anything we shove in him. Open his mouth, yum it down, move on. It's fine. He trusts us. He doesn't want to do any thinking. Whereas Jay, we tried him on, you know, there's a number of things that we did with Jay. Melatonin was like a massive issue. He hated the chalkiness of it, so he refused to. So that wasn't the taste so much as the texture. So then we got him some liquid, which was like a massive faff to get hold of the liquid. And Tam managed to pull some strings and get hold of the liquid. And he took one taste of it. It was like, no. So it's like, oh, God's sake. Do you know what I mean? We've tried really hard to get hold of that shit. And it's a hard no.
Yeah. And we've had massive issues with melatonin as well. But interestingly, it's not difficult in our part of the country to get the liquid. So Emily Rose was first prescribed melatonin, oh goodness, I don't know, years ago. And what we were just given as standard was the liquid solution.
Oh, really? They just straight out of the box. Nice.
It wasn't even discussed. It was just, here's the melatonin. I didn't even realise they could come in tablets. But it worked very well for us because Emily Rose is terrified of swallowing tablets because she's scared she's going to choke. And then when she has tried swallowing a tablet and she hasn't been able to swallow it down and it's kind of got stuck on the back of her tongue and then it all starts to dissolve and then it tastes really hideous.
It's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah. So she definitely doesn't do tablets, but the liquid melatonin was brilliant while the NHS were giving us a certain brand, and then they just changed the brand that came in the prescription and it tasted disgusting.
Oh my God.
Yeah. In comparison, and I think over the years that Emily Rose was taking melatonin, she had grown used to the taste and she liked the taste and she looked forward to taking it every night.
Oh my God.
And then,
that must have been wonderful. A wonderful few years for you.
Well,
sipping melatonin by the fire as you read stories to your children.
But as soon as this other one came, and I went through so much rigmarole to try and get the one that she likes, and it just wasn't possible. So anyway, so that's a pain. So she hasn't taken melatonin for a year, more than a year.
Oh my God, and that disrupts your sleep, and you know, and
it
the whole bedtime routine.
But anyway, so taste of liquid solution melatonin and not being able to get hold of the right sort has been a big issue.
Yeah, I mean, what I did, because again, India had that thing about taste, and the antibiotics always taste awful.
Oh, yeah.
Don't quite know why. So India had antibiotics for the Lyme disease, and again, this is a non-negotiable. This is not a preference. This is really serious if you don't do this.
Yeah.
So she understood that and would always just kick up a massive stink when it had to actually come to taking it. But I would, and again, this is what I discussed on a previous episode of Neuroshambles, is that I would stand by with 2 frubes And then I would fire the antibiotics into her mouth, and then I'd get a froob and fire that in straight away afterwards as well to try and hide the taste. I'd like be just loading her with froobs just to get rid of the but it worked. It did work that way. I'm not going to suggest that would work with the for Emily Rose, but but for India, I think because she understood the kind of the importance of it, I think she was able to deal with it for that, but very reluctantly and very unwillingly. The final thing about sensory overwhelm, I think that medical environments in themselves are overwhelming. Like hospitals and doctor surgeries they have a weird smell, like a clinical smell. I think, which I don't think India's ever articulated to me, but I think probably is at play. So if you think about how strange that environment is, and you're going into that hospital and everything's massive and everything's sort of like sterile and
echoey,
yes,
and clattery.
Yeah, and bright lights as well are there. The strip lighting and
the weird silence in a waiting room.
Yeah, there's all it's they are quite unusual places, and I think that there's probably that at play a bit as well. I think certainly with India that can't help.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And as an aside, waiting rooms are dreadful places, aren't they?
Yes.
Like with neurodivergent kids. Bringing neurodivergent kids to a waiting room in a doctor's is my worst nightmare. I hate it. Because my kids are dysregulated for a bunch of reasons, and the way that they deal with dysregulation is to move and make noise and flap about and just be fizzy, right? No one else in that waiting room wants that. I don't want that. It's like they are just annoying everyone else. And these people are ill. They do not need it. They do not need it. And I feel awful and I feel guilty. And the last thing that anyone needs is boisterous kids pinging about, just being fizzy. So I'm mortified. And it's never pretty.
Yeah, no, I can imagine that.
Now, one of the things that I was thinking about when it comes to India's reluctance to accept any medical help is to what extent this might be a product of masking. Because I know that India masks quite heavily. She certainly does at school. It was mentioned in her diagnosis, and it's just something that I know about India. And that's why I was considering maybe why the boys don't have it as much. Because, masking tends to present more prevalently in girls, and those assigned female at birth. So maybe, I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud. Maybe that is why there's this reluctance to admit that they need that assistance, or that anything is out of sorts, which presents in India as extreme independence.
So do your boys not mask then?
Jay, no, not at all. Jay is all out. Jay is all up front. No, he doesn't mask at all. Otto, no, for the other way. So Jay is explosive and just, and Otto can't. He doesn't really hold it in. I mean, I'm sure there is an element. But it's more to do with Otto. It's avoidance, which isn't masking in the same way. He gets overwhelmed and he has to remove himself from those situations. It's not like I'm going to sit in this situation that's dysregulating me and I'll just suck it up and deal with it and then, melt down at home. He melts down there and then. So no. Whereas India, I suspect that there's a lot more going on there than she lets on at school.
Yeah, I mean, certainly the story you told about doing her blood test, it certainly sounded like she was masking at the doctor's because she was kind of quiet and sort of shut down a little bit, which would be, in a public environment, masking the turmoil that's going on inside.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know, do your girls mask at all?
Yeah, definitely at school.
Yeah, I was just wondering if this reluctance to accept medical help is just because they're so used to just dealing with stuff and putting up with overwhelm and dysregulation and discomfort, and they just so it's a way
Yeah.
of just carrying that on. So I got a really good example of this recently, whereas India at school fell down the stairs.
Oh no.
And she slipped bum first. It wasn't like head over heels, but she slipped bum first and she scraped her back, and she also cut her knee and had quite a big cut on her knee.
Wow.
And so I sort of noticed it when I got home, and I was like, what happened? And she was like, I fell down the stairs, which was quite unusual actually that she told me, thinking about it. But I think that's probably because it was in the past, it was history.
Right.
She was recounting
Yeah.
a tale rather than she needed it there and then. I think maybe that's what it was, because she wasn't bleeding and she wasn't, in pain anymore. So I said, did you tell any teachers about it? And she was like, no. like why would I?
Obviously not.
You idiot man. So I was surprised that the teachers didn't notice, because she's bleeding from the knee. Like, I get the bruises hidden because she got a t-shirt over it, right? But she's bleeding from the knee, so she would have definitely been doing something to avoid them knowing.
Yeah.
Because teachers normally spot that and they usually let you know, right?
Yes.
Normally you get a note from school if they've had an accident. Like when Otto and Jay were sort of younger, I would get a note every day, especially Otto. He was constantly hurting himself. I'm like, oh, what is it now? You get handed the note. It's like, oh my God, what? How did you do that? What the hell?
So I'm the same with Lydia. She must have proprioception issues or something. She doesn't really quite know where she is in space. So at least once a week, get a note home saying what's happened to her. And the worst thing is I also get a phone call, because the school's policy is to ring you if they've bumped their head.
Yeah.
So the phone rings, it's the school. I think, oh no, what is it? And the receptionist says, hello, it's nothing to worry about, just a routine head bump call.
Right. Routine for Lydia. Not for anyone else.
Another one. Okay, all right, fine. Let's see if we know.
Fine. Is she bleeding? No, fine then. Okay. But I thought back about this. I've never had a note about India having some kind of medical accident at school, which is actually quite strange. So I think there's a lot of masking going on there as well. I think at school she will hide it. Yeah, it's really odd, and not something that I'm used to with the boys, certainly. But that's the thing, that she's not like a wallflower by any means. She is rambunctious as hell. She, like, at home, she's climbing over things. She's really boisterous. She's definitely a up and at 'em kind of human. So I'm surprised that hasn't happened. But she's obviously just really good at hiding it at school as well.
Yeah. And as you say, if she's good at hiding, whatever struggles she has by, masking, then maybe this is just part and parcel of that.
Yeah, interesting. I think another of the potential reasons why our kids might refuse medical help is this need for predictability and control. As we know, a lot of autistic people rely on that routine and that predictability to just manage their anxiety. And if nothing else, medical environments are unpredictable. They're completely unfamiliar places, as we kind of talked about earlier. But also, waiting times. Fucking mystery. Like, how long are we going to be here? Who knows? I've packed an overnight bag just in case. And so there's that element to it as well. And the fact that there are professionals, people she's never met before, who she's having to trust for help. These strangers that she talked about that she's now deeply suspicious of. That's going to be quite dysregulating, I think, for autistic kids, and the sensory overload.
And each time you go to the doctor, it's a different doctor. It's not.
Yeah.
Who are you going to see today? I don't know. Is it a man? Is it a woman? I don't know. Are they nice? Are they not nice?
Let's
I don't know.
spin the wheel and see what happens. So as well as this sort of unfamiliarity and not knowing what you're going to get in that medical thing, there's also, as we discussed, the sensory overload of all of that. I think PDA might play a part of this as well, because if you think about it, if you go to a doctor, you're essentially ceding control to someone else, right? They are a doctor, so there is, they will know that doctors know about medicine and you don't, so you're essentially putting yourself in their hands and going, tell me what's wrong with me. Now, Otto, absolutely fine with that. I don't think that India trusts anyone.
Yeah, it's really interesting what you've just said, because Emily Rose has got some life coaching at the moment, and we've just had our sort of first report from that. And what she has identified is that Emily Rose prefers or loves it when she knows more about something than somebody else. So she's not interested in school because it's teachers telling her stuff.
Yes.
And she's not interested in what they have to say. She just wants to tell other people about the things that she knows. And so if you don't know about siphonophores or black holes, she will, oh my goodness, love
I love it.
info dumping. She actually said the other day, yay, and then I get to info dump on people, which I love. So the fact that the balance of power in a medical situation is so far the other way, isn't it? That the medical people know way more than the child or us about the situation and so on. There's no way our children, our PDA children who like to know things, could possibly have the upper hand in that situation.
Yeah, because then it feels terrifying for a PDA.
Yes.
Which is potentially why they are so dysregulated by the thought of going, because you're essentially putting yourself in someone else's hands. You're out of control. That's going to trigger the nervous system response, which is their fight, flight, freeze, fawn response, and it's going to be very, very keenly felt.
Yeah.
I've only just thought about that in the context of India and going as well. And what she did in that situation was essentially freeze response.
Yeah.
But it was a survival mechanism, like fundamentally, it was, potentially that serious. So
yeah, that's true. On the topic of predictability, have you seen that like Facebook meme where there's a picture of I think Ritz crackers or something and blueberries, and the caption says something like, the blueberries are, this one could be squishy, this one could be sweet, this one could be sour, this one could be bitter or whatever, and then the crackers are like same. And this is why neurodivergent children like the same food all the time, because it is predictable. I thought of that meme when I was thinking about this and that need for predictability and how medical situations are just so unpredictable.
Yeah, and you don't know what's going to be the outcome. And that outcome probably will lead to stinky cream, disgusting tasting medicine, or blood tests. None of those are desirable outcomes, so it's no wonder. One of the potential causes of kids refusing medical help, and I don't know how much some of this might play a part with India or not. Throwing a lot of theories out here tonight, is that they don't actually recognize the pain or the feeling, right? So if they have alexithymia, which I've talked about before on Neuroshambles, but this difficulty identifying and describing your emotions or bodily sensations, they have a problem intuiting that and even really thinking about that. So they might not be able to identify that they are actually not feeling very well. So when I ask India if she's not feeling well because she's got a temperature, she says no. That might not just be her hiding it. She might actually realize that she is.
Yeah, that's totally possible.
And I think there's definitely an element of alexithymia at play with India. That's where it gets frustrating when doctors ask kids questions about how they're feeling.
Yeah.
And India just shuts down. And I don't know if that's because she doesn't trust this suspicious stranger, which is definitely possible from what I know now. Or if she just can't describe the sensation. When they say, where does it hurt? Or what kind of pain is it? If you have alexithymia, how can you possibly describe the difference between a sharp pain or an ache or a stabbing pain? Yeah, it's tricky.
And for all children, because of the fact that they are children and they're still developing, describing emotions and feelings and sensations is difficult anyway, because they haven't learnt to match the sensation with the vocabulary.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's really difficult to articulate, and even more so if you've got alexithymia.
Yeah, and also potentially interoception issues as well, of of that not knowing what you feel. I think that's probably that probably has more of a part to do with pain. I don't know, that's interesting what the distinction between alexithymia and interoception are. I think alexithymia is more emotions, whereas interoception is more to do with physical sensations.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the distinction.
So Lydia's got interoception issues, but that's to do with not knowing how it feels to need the toilet, for example.
Yeah, no,
or
Otto has
not
that.
knowing,
Or hungry.
Yeah, not knowing when you feel full or hungry.
Yeah. But I'm just wondering if that is also, part of feeling poorly as well, whereas you don't actually realise that you've got a tummy ache, or if you something else is going on. Having said that, Otto has interoception issues, but also has no issue telling me that he's feeling rubbish.
Every child is so unique.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous, isn't it? They are a conundrum, a puzzle to be solved. Okay, I think the final one that I wanted to highlight in terms of potential reasons for refusing medical help is past experiences. If they've had an unpleasant experience in the past, and this again is sort of comes off the back of my very long discussions with Pete Warmby about how autistic people experience this kind of thing and this fear of the known, right? That they know they've had a bad experience here before, so they are not going to want to do it again. And if they've had a previous bad experience in a medical setting, that's it. Forevermore. Why would I want to go and do that again? I know how bad that is, and I know that what I'm dealing with now is better than that.
Yes.
The familiarity is the opposite of fear. So I don't know if yours have had any previous bad experiences that have prevented the
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, really?
So
okay.
When Emily Rose was a baby, she had Calpol, no problems. And she even liked Calpol until she was 2 and her eczema got really bad. And she was prescribed an antihistamine, which was in a liquid solution. And the doctor warned us as they did the prescription, I'll warn you now, it does not taste very nice, so good luck getting her to have it.
Oh, gosh.
And lo and behold, Emily Rose was all like, yay, because she thought she was getting something similar to Calpol.
Oh, no.
She was only 2. And it was this antihistamine which tasted revolting. And since then, she has not had any type of Calpol.
Oh, God.
I mean, it's a miracle, really, that she went for the melatonin, because that was, a liquid thing, the same. But otherwise, there was a very clear cut-off when she was presented with a disgusting antihistamine when she was 2. From that day onwards, no more medication.
Oh,
basically.
my God. If the GP is saying, it doesn't taste very nice, if you've got particularly strong kind of sensitivities with your taste buds, and that just must have been absolutely dreadful for her. So obviously that's had a big impact. And I think maybe India's aversion to hospital might be as a result of me taking her to A&E when she was 18 months old. So she fell and cut the bridge of her nose. Blood everywhere. It's quite alarming. But we went in, and because it doesn't count as a major issue, it's cosmetic, we were in there for hours and and hours.
Yeah.
And, so 18 months, maybe 18 months to 2 years old, again, that's similar time, right? She would have been aware of where she was. Probably won't remember it, but somewhere deep down, there's some very knee-jerk refusal to ever do that again. Maybe that formative experience scarred her.
Yeah, that makes me think of Lydia, actually. When she was 2, we had to take her to
Two's
A&E.
a nightmare, isn't it? They're all dropping like flies at 2.
Gosh, that's a significant age for memories, clearly. But yeah, so she had a dislocated elbow. And so I had to do the whole thing of waiting around in A&E and taking it to X-ray.
Yeah.
And then a student doctor trying to pop it back in,
Oh,
and then
my
it not
God.
working, and having to get a proper doctor in. And
It's student doctor going, I reckon I could pop it in. No, I reckon you can't, mate. Jesus.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
I don't know, but subconsciously it might have traumatized her.
I mean, it's traumatized me, and I wasn't even there, Michelle. Jesus, that's fine. So I think all of these things potentially are at play. To be honest, with all of these things, it's a wonder anyone goes to the bloody hospital.
Yeah.
It's not all rubbish.
Okay, let's have a look at the positives, tentatively look at the positives of kids refusing medical help. It's really difficult to find the positives from this because it's a nightmare to navigate. As we've discussed, it's so difficult as a parent to see your kids in pain and discomfort and know that you can help them, but then them just being so overwhelmed and so dysregulated that they can't accept or even contemplate having that help. Not many
Yeah.
positives there. Have you got any positives for us,
Well,
Michelle?
the only positive I could think of is the fact that maybe this is one time when being stubborn or determined actually comes into its own and
Yeah.
plays, is good for you, because if you have an earache and you refuse to take medication for it, it means that you get hardy to or resilient
Yeah.
to deal or living with pain.
You're
I
hard
don't
as
know.
nails. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I reckon if India ever decides to have a child, it's going to be a breeze for her. She needs to be a doddle. If she's anything like Tam was phenomenal. Tam refused paracetamol the last time, which is like, nah, it's a bit much, isn't it? Dude, it's not that bad. Like, Tam was phenomenal. So if India's anything like that, which I suspect that she is,
Okay.
then there's a positive. So
Yay!
I found it.
Pain-free
I
childbirth.
found it. I don't think it was pain-free, but I think it was like, Tam was definitely able to tolerate it without any medication. In fact,
Oh,
I
good.
was the one on gas and air the first time. It's amazing.
Oh.
Neurodiversity Champions.
Okay, Neurodiversity Champions now. These are people or organizations that are doing some wonderful things in the fields of neurodiversity. Do you have any neurodiversity champions for us, Michelle?
Yeah, I've got two. So Emily Rose is learning the piano, and her piano teacher is the most amazing person.
Oh, wow.
She's called Liz Chandler, so
Uh-huh.
shout out to her. She totally gets Emily Rose. So before she started having lessons with her, we said to the teacher, Emily Rose has got PDA, so don't give her any homework. We want this to be a fun thing for her, so don't put any stress, no exams, all that kind of stuff. And the teacher said to me, do you know, I think I know someone who's got PDA, and I think I might be on the spectrum myself.
Okay.
And so it's just been such a joy over the last couple of years to see Emily Rose flourish with playing the piano.
Oh, wow.
And to the extent that it can also be a regulating activity for her. So if she is starting to get dysregulated, she can just take herself off to the piano and start playing. And it's
that sounds
all
amazing.
because she's had a brilliant teacher who has just enabled her to learn at her own pace and enjoy it for fun, not as a didactic sort of, you must learn this.
Which is exactly what hobbies should be, right?
Yeah.
That's lovely. And did she do sort of research into PDA to understand strategies, do you think? Or she just sort of got it and went, yeah, okay.
It appeared that she just got it.
Wow.
But I'm not sure.
Yeah, interesting.
Anyway,
that's lovely. So
really
big
good.
shout out to Liz Chandler. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's taking on new students. Do you want me to put details in the show notes?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Hey guys, don't even think about contacting Liz Chandler. She's busy.
Yeah.
The other one you said you got two.
Yeah, so in the town where Emily Rose has just started secondary school, there is a new thing started up called Beyond Creative Education.
Okay.
And it's been started by someone called Jess, and she used to be like a head teacher in a Senko and all sorts of different things. And she's left her sort of safe teaching job behind to set up this new company to provide children who are struggling to access education in mainstream the sort of space to get back into a love of learning.
Oh, wow.
And it's all done through creative things. So Emily Rose's favourite subject is art. She really loves art. She loves drawing. And so she's having these sort of life coaching sessions with Jess. where she's using the medium of art and being creative to help Emily Rose articulate what she might be struggling with and start to give us some strategies and just give us some space where she feels really valued and like a worthwhile human being.
Amazing. You know? It's in a format that Emily Rose enjoys, so it's reducing that friction as well. That's amazing. That's wonderful.
Yeah, so she's only been going a few months, so I wish her well in her work because it's really good.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, maybe I'll put her details in the show notes.
Yeah,
if anyone is around, then they can check it out because it sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
Tiny epic wins.
Okay, tiny epic wins now. These are the moments that in a neurotypical household wouldn't be seen as any big deal, but in our neuroshambolic households, they are epic wins. Have you got any tiny epic wins for us, Michelle?
Yeah.
Yes.
So after a couple of years of Emily Rose not eating any fruit, because what she eats is very restricted because there's a lot that she doesn't like the taste or texture of. So she hadn't eaten any fruit for a couple of years. The other day she just came into the kitchen and said, "Can I have an apple, please?" And I was silently doing a little happy dance inside.
Yeah, you can't make a big deal about it, though, can you? You're just like,
no, I played it really cool.
Yeah, well done.
Said, yeah, of course. Would you like it cut up? It was brilliant.
Like it was totally. Yay! And did she like it?
Yes. She ate
my God. Wow, because apples can be tricky in our household as well, because there's like a very, very, very strong divide between like ones who like just the green ones and ones who like the red ones. And not any red one either. It has to be a specific texture. So like the fruit's a nightmare. The suspicion with which my children eye up fruit before they eat it is really frustrating. So, but it sounds like you nailed it. You got a good one.
So yeah, she eats apples now, which is brilliant.
Awesome. That is an epic win. I've got a tiny epic win, which is sort of related to the medical side of things. In that I went to the dentist with Jay recently. So Jay's had to have braces in his teeth. And he went to a place in Brighton to have his teeth kind of x-rayed and looked at. And the guy said, "You're going to need braces." And he explained it to Jay in such a wonderful way. And I don't think he knew that Jay was autistic. I don't think he knew he was PDA. I think he was just a guy that liked explaining shit. So the way that he talked to Jay about his teeth and the process, because braces is a long process. Like the first bit, he's got to correct align his jaw. Right, that's 6 months of his jaw being realigned and having to wear braces every day. I'm like, he's never going to go for this. This is going to be like a nightmare. But the way he explained it to Jay was so clear, and also giving him the decision, crucially, of like, I mean, you could not do this, but then this is what's going to happen, or you could do this and put up with this for a little while, and Jay was like, "Oh no, we'll do that. That's fine." And since then, Jay has not moaned or complained. He had his braces fitted recently, the first set, and he's not once complained. He's worn them every single day, done it himself. He wore them into school when he didn't have to the first week.
Wow.
And he was just like, "Well, I don't care if people make fun of me for it." I'm staggered by the way that Jay has adopted it without any drama.
Wow.
Like there is literally no way that would happen with India or Otto. But with Jay, for whatever reason, he's just been on board, and I think it's almost entirely because the dentist was so clear in how he explained it, and he just pitched it perfectly. I think by accident.
How fantastic.
Yeah. Epic win.
What the flip?
Okay, what the flip moments now. I love these. These are the moments where our children will say or do something that completely flabbergasts us and leaves us baffled as to how we could possibly respond. Do you have many what the flip moments with your lot?
Yeah, I do. So we were going out for the day to a water park. This is back in the summer, and the usual chaos of getting out of the house and everything. And Emily Rose came to the front door, and then she said, "Look at the sign I've made." And the sign said, "Do not smoke or vape around me, or I will kill you." And then in small brackets, "But the smoking stroke faking might kill you first."
Oh my God. What? Who was this for? What people at the water park? It wasn't directed at you, obviously. So
She was like, I don't know whether she was planning to tape it to her forehead or put it in her
just hand it out
lanyard
to people smoking and
or
vaping.
just like hold it up.
Oh, that's wonderful. I love it.
Yeah.
Do you have any others?
Yes. Okay. So one Friday morning, I woke Emily Rose up to start getting her ready for school. I went away, and then the next time I passed her bedroom door, she shouted out to me, "Did you know that in their lifetime, the average person will swallow 8 spiders in their sleep?"
Just like, shouting facts at you.
She wasn't even looking at anything, so she must have woken up with this fact on her brain and just obviously felt she had to get it out there.
I love it when that happens, when they're just like, I've been thinking about a thing and now it's just coming out and you just happen to be there. Receive my fact. I got a couple of what the flip moments. One of them is very relevant to this, which is from India, when I was trying to put cream on her and her response to that. I was like, I need to put this cream on you. And she went, I don't want to smell like a raccoon that's just come back from the dumpster. It's like, okay. All right, we won't do that then. Dr. Stink will retire for the evening. The other one I had was from Jay recently. And again, just one of those from nowhere moments. He went, hedgehogs are the cutest animal you can legally own in this country. And I was like,
legally owned.
Yeah. And as I was mulling over this controversial statement, he followed it up with, I'm assuming you can't legally own an otter. That would take a lot of paperwork. Like, he considered it. He might have even looked into it, but he's decided, nah, it's too much form filling for me to bring an otter home. Yeah, lovely stuff. Okay, that is it for this episode of Neuroshambles. Michelle, thank you so much for emailing me with your loads of suggestions for topics of the week, which is good. They've all made the list. So if anyone else wants to email in any topics of the week, or any what the flip moments, or tiny epic wins, or Neurodiversity Champions, then please email me at hello@neuroshambles.com. So the other ones that you mentioned are on the list, just so you know how they are considered. When I find a guest that I want to talk to, I then basically go, here are all the things on the list. Is there anything there that takes your fancy? And then they pick them and we talk about that basically. So they are all considered. So thank you for sending that through. I will also say a big thank you to Neuroshambles listeners. If you want to follow us on the socials, we are on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and Threads as well. To be honest, I can't see much more life left in Threads for me, because I don't get any engagement on it. It seemed like a nice idea at the time, but we'll see. So, if you're going to join me on Threads, I'd do it now to convince me it's worth taking part in. Otherwise, that might go the same way that Reddit did all those years ago. Anyway, thank you so much again for listening. And all that remains for me to say is have a nice life.